Hey folks, welcome to the show. Happy you're here and happy to talk about the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers facing off in the Stanley Cup Finals. For the Oilers, they haven't been in the Stanley Cup Finals since 2006. It's been a long wait for them. It's also been a long wait for the Florida Panthers, who had to wait all of 1 year. They're back in the Stanley Cup Finals for the second time in a row. However, the Panthers have never won a Stanley Cup. The Oilers have, though that was last in 1990 as part of the dynasty, the last official dynasty in NHL history. I don't think either of these teams are going to start a dynasty, but I can have my hopes up for the Oilers. But again, it's hard to do a dynasty. We haven't seen a dynasty in the modern day. But hey, neither of these teams have won a Stanley Cup. Well, I mean, since 1990, Panthers haven't ever, so probably shouldn't be talking about dynasty talk. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's just focus on the series and how these teams have performed in the playoffs. As usual, all these stats come from their performances in the playoffs. So obviously they're going to be a bit skewed based on who they're playing. The Oilers played the LA Kings, the Vancouver Canucks, and Dallas Stars. All three played a very tight, low affair game. The Florida Panthers do play a very efficient defensive game, but are able to rocket off a lot more shots than the Oilers' previous opponents had. As for the Panthers, they've played the Boston Bruins, Tampa Bay Lightning, and New York Rangers. The first two, the Lightning and the Rangers both had fire and power, which didn't really show up in the playoffs. The Panthers were able to handle all three of those teams. The difficulty for the Panthers in those three series, or the main difficulty, was the goalies they were playing. They were playing Vasilevsky, who playoff Vasilevsky this year wasn't as good as in years past, but was still pretty good. Then they played Jeremy Swayman and Igor Shesterkin, who will likely be the best goalie they played this playoffs. As I don't think many people or anyone expects Stuart Skinner to be that much of a challenge. In fact, I think it's fair to say Stuart Skinner will, unfortunately, as an Oilers fan, be the weakest goalie the Florida Panthers face. That doesn't mean the Florida Panthers are going to win, but also to Skinner's credit, he's been very good. He was the Oilers' best player, I would say, in 3 of the 6 games they played. Game 1, 2, and 6, I would say Skinner was amazing. And if he can keep that form, I would favor the Oilers. But that's an if, and it's difficult to keep the form he had for any goalie, especially for a young guy like him. So obviously we'll see how he performs when the lights are at their brightest. The Panthers only had to play, not only, 17 games is a lot, but they played 17 games to get here. Oilers needed one more game to get to 12 wins. During that time, the Oilers did score more than the Panthers per game, with 3.5 goals per game. The Oilers did really well in not allowing goals at 2.61, but the Panthers were amazing in that, allowing only 2.29. The Panthers also averaged over 30 shots per game. The Oilers did not. Both the Panthers and the Oilers allowed very few shots per game, relatively speaking, though the shooting percentage absolutely favored the Oilers at 12.1 versus Florida's 9.7. 9.7 is manageable. You can work with 9.7, no problem. But 12.1 shooting percentage is incredible. Bobrovsky, we know what he can do in the playoffs. He hasn't done much of it. He's been good. He's been good in the playoffs. He's been very good. I'm not disparaging him, but I do think just like Skinner will have to step up, Bobrovsky will too, because the Oilers don't need as many shots as the other teams the Panthers have faced to score. They've made a lot of hot goalies look really dumb over the course of the year. Ottinger had a great start to round 3 and was looking really good in round 2. And in the last 2 games, he just fell apart. And the Oilers tend to do that to goalies. They are very good at getting in high danger zones and limiting the opponent's ability to get into high danger zones. That said, the Panthers are even better than the Oilers at getting in high danger zones over the course of these playoffs, with just over 9 shots from high danger zones. So that's just over 1 more than the Oilers do per game. But the Panthers also allow 1.29 more than the Oilers do. When it comes to hitting, the Oilers haven't needed to hit as much. But however much the Oilers hit, it's likely the Florida Panthers will hit them. As I've keep saying the Panthers are the best hitting team throughout the regular season and the playoffs. They hit their opponents 1.8 times per shot against during these playoffs. When it comes to blocking, the Oilers have been slightly better at 16.6 blocks per game. Part of that has to do with how much time you spend in the defensive zone. Yeah, but I think both these teams, spend a similar amount of time there. When it comes to the face-offs, another thing I keep saying is the face-offs should be an Oilers' strength. They were one of the best teams in the face-off circle over the course of the regular season. I think they were second or third best. And yet, during the playoffs, they've been at 47.3%, whereas the Panthers have just been over the 50% mark. Where the Oilers have a clear strength as special teams. While the Panthers do have more power play opportunities per game, and that number might be a little skewed because the Panthers played the New York Rangers, who are quite undisciplined, where the Oilers played Dallas Stars, who are the most disciplined team of the year. But still, the Panthers have gotten more power play opportunities per game during the playoffs, but the Oilers score more power play goals because of how awesome that power play is. The Oilers do have a goal per game, power play goal per game, despite having a lot less chances than the Panthers do. But the power play hasn't been the Oilers' strength of late. It's been their penalty kill that has a 93.9% success rate. Just a beautiful thing to watch. The only power play goals came against Vancouver, but they shut down LA and they shut down the Dallas Stars. However, I do think the Panthers' power play will be the toughest power play they face, as the Rangers also had a very good penalty kill that eventually fell apart against the Panthers. I do think that's more has to do with how the Rangers' penalty kill is more Shesterkin, whereas for the Oilers, the penalty kill, Skinner's good on the penalty kill, it's just the guys in front of him are very good. There's a very good system on the penalty kill. They're very good with breaking up passes and clearing it down the ice. So we'll see. We'll see. And all this can change. I don't think it'll be a close series. I've already seen people say Panthers in 4, but those are the same people who said Stars in 4, right? The Oilers are here. And so are the Panthers too. I wouldn't be surprised by either team winning. I think it'll be close. I think it'll go to 6 games, if not 7, no matter who I pick. My preseason pick was the Oilers, and so I've talked about how I should probably just stick with the Oilers as my pick, even when I want to change my mind. So I am. Because that's what I've been doing. Might as well, right? That said, I wouldn't be surprised if more people pick the Panthers. I think that's the case. Even though I think it's ridiculous to say the Panthers in 4 or 5, I understand if you pick Panthers in 6 or 7. I probably would if you're in your shoes and didn't already pick the Oilers. The Panthers are the better team in a lot of ways. Their goaltending should be better. Their special teams won't be as good. That's fine. Their defense will likely be better, and their ability to produce chances will likely be better, but I'm not going to say their offense is better, because as great as Sam Reinhart has been this year and as good as Matthew Tkachuk's been in the playoffs, none of those guys are Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. And while those two are the best offensive producers in the league in the playoffs right now, I mean, it's not just them. Bouchard's been great. Hyman's been great. Nuge has been great. But, yeah, we'll see. I do think the Oilers will win, not just because that was my preseason pick, but I'm just going to say I'm just deciding between 6 and 7 as my pick. Because I've already decided the Oilers, and I've already decided this is going to take at least 6 games. I just feel like once they get hot, those top players get hot, I feel like they can end it before 7. But the Panthers are so good. They're so good. And Game 6, Game 7 isn't a huge difference. A little less anxiety, I would say. I'm going to say Oilers 6. I'm going to go with. I think Star Power will push them over. I think Skinner's in really good form. I think Skinner's in better form than Bobrovsky is. And that's not an insult at Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky has been better overall during these playoffs. But it's just looking at the last... I wasn't going to say... Not last 2 rounds. Last round and a half, I think Skinner's been better. Not that I've broken down the numbers, and if I do, I don't think it'll be a big difference. So I'm going to say Oilers in 6. That is my prediction. Really could go either way. Should be a really fun series. You got Matthew Tkachuk, who's still kind of an enemy for the Oilers. Not as much now that he's been on the Panthers for 2 years, but it's still, the memories are still there. Zach Kassian isn't on the Oilers, but Evander Kane is, who's kept his nose clean for the most part. We'll see how the Oilers deal with the Panthers, and vice versa. I think that's another part of it, is that I do think the Panthers' style of play will take over more than the Oilers do. I don't expect the Oilers to take over in a lot of games. I'm sure they'll have their games where they take over and vice versa, but I think the Panthers will take over more often. But the reason I say the Oilers is because I think the Oilers can still win when the Panthers are taking over, and I'm not sure the Panthers can win when the Oilers take over. Again, we know what Bobrovsky can do. He can have a 50-save performance. The Oilers have not been good against Russian goalies this year, but we just haven't seen that too much from Bobrovsky, and part of that is because he hasn't needed to. The Panthers' defense has been phenomenal all year. But yeah, we'll see. I think I've talked enough. I'm happy to talk more, but I think that's enough for now. Thank you so much for watching this video. As far as you have, whether it's just been effective white noise or actually informative, I appreciate it either way. I also appreciate it if you like the video. With the like button down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe and turn on notifications for more. I will see you guys soon.